When most people think about Merry, they remember a mischievous burnout that doesn't take much seriously. But there is much more to this Shireling than just a comic relief sidekick. Merry has irreversible impact on the entire war. Believe it or not, in his own right, Merry is a brave and perceptive leader. Like I said, Merry doesn't have much to be serious about. He's lived a quite comfortable and safe life in the Shire, which I think is what led him to become so mischievous. It's how a young hobbit can get some excitement in life. Just ask the Amish. When we are first introduced to Merry, we see him persuade Pippin into stealing Gandalf's fireworks, which they then end up lighting under a tent, and Pippin confirms this was all Merry's idea.
Outside. This was your idea!
They establish early on that Merry has some influence over Pippin, and these two are inseparable even when things blow up in their face. The next time we see Merry is when he's stolen Farmer Maggot's vegetables, and he stumbles over Frodo and Sam. This leads all four hobbits to be in hot pursuit by the enraged plow jockey, and while most people would categorize Merry's mischievous behavior as foolhardy, I would categorize it as brave. I mean, would any of you risk being impaled for some carrots and cabbages? Really, I think the only difference between brave and foolhardy is it's brave if it works, foolish if it doesn't. So after their uncoordinated escape from the wicked Farmer Maggot, they play hide and seek with the Grateful Dead. The Nazgul get dangerously close to discovering them until Merry tosses his bag of psychedelic mushrooms to distract their enemy. And it's at this point, Merry realizes they're looking for Frodo.
What is going on?
That Black Rider was looking for something. Or someone. Frodo?
And as we go through, Merry will show us exactly how insightful he is. Anyways, people seem to forget that it's at this point Merry leads the other hobbits to Buckleberry Ferry and to Bree.
Buckleberry Ferry. Follow me.
Merry takes him on the fastest way he knows, and without him, it is very possible Frodo and Sam would have never made it out of the Shire. They escape the 5 ringwraiths and make it to Bree. To Merry, this is not much different than dodging Farmer Maggot during their usual shenanigans. It's not until they are lighting the fires they learn of the true danger they're in. Frodo is stabbed and in dire straits. They are helpless to save him, and he will soon take his last breath. If it were not for Aragorn slowing the poison and Rider Arwen, Frodo would have surely perished. A fun fact about the weapons given to the hobbits, they actually foreshadow Merry and Pippin's fates to come. Merry is given a sword of the Rohirrim, indicating his destiny to become an esquire of Rohan, and Pippin receives a Gondorian sword, foreshadowing his sworn duty with Gondor. Anyways, Merry spies on the council meeting of the One Ring, which establishes his curiousness, mischievous bravery, and that hobbits can go unseen by most if they choose. When Frodo swears to carry the ring to Mordor, Merry exposes himself and refuses to leave Frodo's side. Merry's concern and loyalty for his cousin is a pivotal turning point in the story. I'll explain why here in just a few moments. First, I want to point out it's Merry and Pippin's childlike mischief that seals their fate in Moria. They're throwing stones into the lake, awakening the beast within. The Watcher in the water emerges and collapses the doors of Durin, giving them no other option than to take the tunnels of Khazad Dûm, and sealing what would be Gandalf's fate with a little help from Pippin. Later in Balin's tomb, Merry and Pippin go completely mad on the cave troll to avenge Frodo. And sure, Legolas might have landed the killing blow without them anyways, but it shows Merry's absolute courage in the face of death, backstabbing the troll into agony just as a sneaky burglar should. The Fellowship makes it to Amon Hen, and it is Merry who realizes Frodo has gone missing, again showing his perception to his surroundings. The company splits up to look for Frodo, and this is when the story is changed forever. Yurks are coming over the hill when Merry and Pippin finally spot Frodo, and Merry recognizes Frodo is abandoning the Fellowship. It is at this point that Merry distracts the juice-bagged orcs' attention to give Frodo the opportunity he needs to escape. By leading the orcs away, Merry and Pippin are eventually captured, and this is what chain reacts 3 different plot lines. Frodo and Sam continue on to destroy the ring, Merry and Pippin eventually go into the Fangorn Forest where they befriend Treebeard, and the 3 hunters with Gandalf aiding the Rohirrim. And of course, let's not forget, Boromir's end. Providing Frodo the opportunity to escape is important because, as I've pointed out in other videos, even had Frodo survived this attack uncaptured and he stayed with the Fellowship, the ring would have ripped them apart one by one, and they would have never let Golan lead them through safest journey, taking the story and characters down alternate paths. Merry and Pippin escaping their captors into the Fangorn forest is ultimately what brings down the reign of Saruman. You see, Merry pleads with Treebeard and other Ents to fight in this war, but he is unsuccessful. While Treebeard escorts the hobbits home, it's Merry's perceptive foresight that causes him to say out loud,
"There won't be a Shire, Pippin."
This is what inspired Pippin to cleverly con Treebeard into going to the borders of Isengard, awakening the forest, and rousing the last march of the Ents, with Merry and Pippin bravely riding along their side. The Ents would have likely found this out anyways, but by that time the Urks may have already returned to Isengard, making the battle that much more hard fought, and the Rohirrim would still be occupied by Saruman, unable to assist Gondor. That's even considering that Theoden and his troops survived the halls of the Hornburg at all, without Aragorn there to inspire the king in one last charge. Leaderless, the last remaining would probably look to Éomer and Gandalf. And yeah, I know, the dead army kinda ruins the Rohirrim payoff in the Battle of Pelennor Fields anyways, because the army of the dead pretty much clean up anything left anyways, like some sort of Middle-earth cheat code. But the dead army would also not be present. You see, Aragorn would have felt bound to take Frodo to Mordor, missing his opportunity to recruit the dead army into fulfilling their oaths, dooming Gondor. That is, unless Boromir somehow survived and returned to his people. But then God only knows what kind of powerhouse Gondor would have been under his leadership. But I digress. Saruman also gets credit for all of this because had he never sent the Urks after Frodo and minded his own damn business, the quest to destroy the ring would have ultimately failed. The breaking of the Fellowship was Middle-earth's only hope. After Pippin foolishly looks into a Palantir after acting like a pipe fiend, Merry realizes Sauron will be looking for him.
Don't you understand? The enemy thinks you have the ring.
He's going to be looking for you, Pip.
Separated from all of his lifelong friends, Merry longs to fight for their cause, offering his sword to the Rohirrim. He fights not to defend them, but to defend what they stand for. Merry is doubted, so he sneaks into the battle with the irresponsible Éowyn, who potentially leaves her people leaderless. But that's also a topic for another time. Merry proves himself on the battlefield against men, orcs, and even assists in slaying of the Witch King, saving Éowyn's life. Merry's actions in Lord of the Rings are small, incredibly important ripples that caused massive waves. He is a brave and perspective hobbit, and a persuasive leader to some. It's just as Gandalf explained that even the smallest person can change the course of the future, even if it goes unseen by most. I constantly see films that are written, or rather rewritten at times, with the structure of this happens, and this happens, and this happens. But with Lord of the Rings, there's a simple difference of cause and effect. The story instead is written as this happened because that happened, therefore this happens. And I just wish more films met the standard. Anyways, I know I made many references here, the Pippin, the Dead Army, Éowyn, and others, all projects I've had in mind, so if you're interested in one of these, let me know which one to start next. Until then, check out this video about Frodo, or Theoden. Be critical, stay excellent.